Think about the world around you. I mean, from the chair you're sitting in to the device you're watching this on, pretty much everything is a product of the Industrial Revolution. And this system, it's given us some incredible stuff, right? But what if that entire system is built on a really, really big design flaw? Sound familiar? You might think that's about our modern world, but it's actually describing a ship, a symbol of its time. We're talking about the Titanic. And according to the book Cradle to Cradle, the story of the Titanic is a perfect, if tragic, metaphor for the industrial system we all live in. Okay, so how on earth is our entire industrial system like a doomed ship? Well, just think about the Titanic for a second. It was the absolute peak of industrial might. Everyone called it unsinkable. It was all about humanity's triumph over nature. It was designed to conquer the ocean, not cooperate with it. And that, right there, is a mindset we've pretty much carried over into everything we do today.
Our industries are just gobbling up resources, powered by brute force energy. They basically play by their own rules, completely ignoring nature's own cycles of growth and renewal. And just like the Titanic, this massive system looks totally invincible from the outside, but it has a fundamental design flaw, one that has it on a direct collision course with the natural world.
Okay, so that brings us to the first huge design flaw in our system. The authors call it cradle-to-grave. Almost everything we make is designed for a one-way trip, and trust me, you don't want to see the final destination. Let's trace the life of a typical product, shall we? First, we dig up valuable materials from the earth. Then we pour tons of energy into making them into stuff we can use. We buy it, we use it for a while, and then we throw it into a grave. You know, a landfill and an incinerator, and that's it. Story's over. It's just a one-way ticket to the dump. You know, we say it all the time. I'm just going to throw it away. But seriously, stop and think about it for a second. On a planet with finite space, where exactly is away? It has to go somewhere, right? And this is where it gets just absolutely wild. We are literally burying treasure. A normal landfill is packed with valuable stuff, metals, plastics, all sorts of materials worth billions of dollars. It's all just sitting there, completely wasted. So yeah, this isn't just bad for the planet, it's just terrible business. All right, let's dive into the next big flaw. This mindset that sees nature as an enemy we have to conquer. The goal for so many companies is to create these one-size-fits-all solutions that work anywhere. Sounds efficient, but in reality, it just means using a ton of brute force. Take something as simple as laundry detergent. If you want to make one formula that works perfectly for everybody, whether their water is super hard or super soft, you have to design it for the absolute worst-case scenario. That means packing it with a whole cocktail of powerful chemicals to handle anything. It's not smart, it's just strong. Overkill, really. And this attitude, it's summed up perfectly by this kind of unofficial motto from back in the day. If brute force doesn't work, you're not using enough of it. The idea was never to work with nature's elegant systems, but just to steamroll right through them with more chemicals, bigger machines, and more fuel. And that mindset, we are still dealing with the fallout. Okay, so we've been talking big picture, right? Systems, industries, but what does all this mean for you personally? How does this bad design actually show up in your own home? Well, this is where it gets a little personal and honestly, kind of creepy. The authors have a term for this. They call it the product plus. The idea is you think you're buying one thing, right? The product. But really, you're getting a plus. Some extra additive you never asked for, you don't want, and it might actually be bad for you. Let's make this super real. Imagine you go out and buy a basic polyester shirt. Maybe for working out, something simple. Seems harmless, right? What could be wrong with a shirt? But here's the thing. It's not just a shirt. It's a product plus. You get the shirt plus antimony. Antimony is a toxic heavy metal, and yep, it's a known carcinogen. It's used to make the polyester, and then it just stays in the fabric. Suddenly, that simple shirt is a lot more complicated, isn't it? And it's all because the design process never bothered to ask, hey, is this actually safe for people and the planet? So that polyester shirt, it's the perfect example of what the book calls a crude product. These are things that are made with zero ecological intelligence. They have all these unnecessary toxic materials that can actually contaminate the air inside your home. And at the end of their cradle-to-grave life, they become even more of a problem, releasing toxins whether they're buried or burned. So when you add it all up, The one-way trip to the landfill, the brute force approach, the hidden toxins in our everyday stuff, it's a pretty grim picture. It's no wonder the authors call this whole thing a strategy of tragedy. But, and this is really important, this isn't about blaming some evil corporation. The people who designed this system weren't trying to cause harm. They were just solving the problems of their time with the knowledge they had. The problem isn't the people, it's the design. It's an old, clunky operating system that we just haven't managed to update yet.
And that leaves us with a really big, important question. If our whole system is basically a tragedy by design, then can't we redesign our way out of it? Can we actually use our smarts, our creativity, to kickstart a new industrial revolution? One that's not just less bad, but actually good for us and for the planet? That, right there, is the challenge ahead.